Alright, here's Rocket Knight Adventures. This is an awesome game. I've only got it loose, but it was still worth picking up. And let's check it out, shall we? As you can see, copyright 1993 Konami. This game came out in August of 1993 in North America, and then in Japan, and then Europe. And it was developed and published by Konami, as we can see there. Very, very cool game. I can't believe I've missed this one, and graphically it's very good. It's very good on the Genesis. Also, the sound is very good. The music is really, really good in this game. This is one of those games when people say Genesis has shitty music, and a lot of people say that, and I don't blame them. There's a lot of horrible sounding games on the Genesis, especially ports. I was playing Mortal Kombat 3 the other day, and considering Mortal Kombat 3 is a late Genesis game, it just sounds awful. So bad. And, so I don't blame people for saying that, but, listen to a game like this, Konami had, some skills with the Genesis. I mean, really good sprite animation, as you can see. Really cool colors. It almost reminds me of, for some reason, Neo Geo sprites. Like, this would be a game that SNK would do. I guess maybe the sprites kind of remind me of Metal Slug. Of course, there's not as many of them on the screen at once. As that was, one thing the Neo Geo could do. I don't think the Genesis could quite do so well. But still, the sprite animation is very good. The colors are very good. And like I said, the music is also very good. One reason maybe I never heard of this game is because I never had a Genesis back then. And believe it or not, this game was only released for the Genesis. It was supposed to come out for the Super Nintendo. Why it didn't, I don't know. This game does have a sequel, though, and the sequel is called Sparkster. Now, I've heard of Sparkster before. I've heard of this game before, a few times. Wasn't really sure what it was. I assumed it was, it's for both the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. But, once I picked this up and I had played it a little bit, I then picked up, saw this game called Sparkster. I think it has X-File, I don't know his name, he's on one of my subscribers, and he does videos and stuff like this too, but he was just showing Sparkster, and someone mentioned, have you played Rocket Knight Adventures, and I'm looking at Sparkster, and it's like the same guy, so this must be a prequel or a sequel. That was actually the sequel to Rocket Knight Adventures. And that game, Sparkster, came out for both the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. Here we can see we're in a flying level. There's some different levels in this game, and actually this is still level 1, which is the funny thing. The levels are very big in this game. There's not a lot of levels, but they're big. And what I mean by that is there's little sections. You'd think that having gone from an action platformer level to a flying level, that we're in a different level, but we're still in level 1. This is still level 1. So the levels are long. This game is probably not very long because there's not a lot of levels, but it's a harder game, and it's funny because it starts you off on easy, the default difficulty, but there is a very easy below that. I'm just playing it on the default, which is easy, but I'd hate to see this game on hard, because it is a harder game. I unfortunately can't get too far in it. This game is definitely one that you would have to play over and over again. For example here, just to figure out the patterns. Because if you get hit by this too many times, you're not even going to make it past this one little spot. And sometimes the little checkpoints are a little far apart. Like you'll beat a mini-boss, and you'll continue the level and you'll die, and you'll go back quite a ways, even before the mini-boss. You think anytime that you beat a mini-boss that would be a checkpoint, but sometimes the checkpoints are spread out a little too far in this game. So it's definitely a game that you have to play over and over just to get the patterns, and you know, it's not so bad once you figure out that, especially for the bosses, which there's a lot of bosses, like I mentioned, and you know, I guess so the more you play it, the easier it would be, but yeah, like I said, it's a little bit harder of a game, but there's not a lot of levels, but the levels are very long, so I don't know what you want to, you know, consider that. I guess I'm not sure how long this game would take you to beat. I don't think I would ever be able to beat it, unless I put it on children mode, which is what they call, like, the very easy mode. The easiest is children. The hardest is called Crazy Hard, which is 1 life and no continues. Here's the last boss of the first level, so I guess this would be your main boss, and once again, figuring out the patterns would definitely help, and you know, it's a fun game. I often forget that you can charge up, which is the main point of this game, is that you do have a rocket pack, hence the name Rocket Mining Adventures, and you can charge that up and use like a special attack, which sometimes I do forget that. Either way, there we go. I beat the first level, and like I said, pretty long level. I mean, there's got to be 4, you know, mini bosses in that level, and a couple different styles of gameplay, all within the first level. And this is the second level. This is literally, it's like level 2, and it starts and you're on a boss. So once again, there's a lot of mini bosses in this game. It's a great game if you like boss fights. That's for sure. If you like the pattern stuff and the boss fights. You know, even though there's not a lot of levels in this game, you get a lot of boss fights. So yeah, definitely good for that. This is an 8 megabit cartridge, which is 1 megabyte. Definitely by no means the largest of Genesis games, but definitely not one of the smaller cartridges as well. I'm sure there's games that are only 1 megabit, so, and like I said, there's a lot of animation and a lot of colorful sprites, so, and really good music. So once again, I'm surprised that it's only 8 megabits. I'm surprised it's not one of the bigger, you know, 16 or 24 megabit cartridges, considering what you see in this game and how many mini bosses there are and all that. It's definitely surprising there. But anyways, yeah, I'm running out of time, and yeah, see you guys later.